We made it to hump day, Andy, on a
We
short
did.
week. It
We
feels
did.
good.
That's true.
Feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. The short. This is kind of, I think, this is like the last. Well, no, we've got the 4th of July coming up, so we still have like one more nice holiday before we hit that sort of little lull. August. There's nothing in August, I don't think. But
Yeah, between the 4th of July and like Labor Day, we have like uninterrupted. So it gets
yeah.
now people take a lot of vacation during that time, but at the same time, there's no real holidays.
Yeah.
Then we get into my bag, Andy. Like that's where we really start talking, all the fall stuff that goes on.
That's right.
Um, Andy, what do you prefer? Like, do you prefer a short week to be Monday, the short weekday, and you start on Tuesday, or you end on Thursday?
No, I think I like ending on Thursday.
Yeah.
I think I like ending on Thursday. It's just getting that Friday is like a nice start into things. Although I feel like I'm more productive when it's the Monday. I don't necessarily do as much on the Friday off. I feel like on a Monday I start getting things like ready more. But I mean, look, I'll take a 3 day anytime, man. Dave, again, I think we've told us before, but one of the things I do miss about the military is the military takes every 3 day, turns it into a 4 day, which is just a
Yeah.
glorious thing, and I miss those because, once a month, at least you've got a 4 day weekend, which is just spectacular. So I do
I
miss
don't
that.
know.
We can't
Did
do that.
did Puffer Pete change that at all? That's all for the week to get an extra holiday.
Maybe, but he might enjoy those. It gives more recovery time after a wild binge. You know what I mean? So he might have kept those in place for
Okay. Yeah.
you know what I
Fair.
mean,
Fair.
to help himself dry out a little bit after a long pub crawl.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about the starting the like having the Monday. I can like I will do more work generally than on a Friday.
Yeah,
That said, though, like I feel like the rest of the week is just a shit show with like the compressed meetings and
yeah.
all this other stuff. So I prefer a Friday having off, but just because I don't feel as rushed or panicked or anything. But I am probably more productive because I will always work. I work on the weekends. I mean, I just do
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff.
yeah.
So
Well, Dave, we
all
should
right,
we should we should we should say it because somebody listening is like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" In case you're missing it, Friday is Juneteenth and a national holiday, so it's still a relatively new national holiday. So this Friday, June 19th, it doesn't always fall on a weekend. This is one of the holidays
yeah.
that's not fixed to a Monday or a Friday, so it can rotate. But nice when it does fall on a Friday. So we'll take Juneteenth holiday this Friday and celebrate emancipation and the intent for liberty because all people are created equal and nobody should be enslaved. So we'll celebrate that and take the day off.
Yeah, and I mean, and we'll see what kind of batshit stupid thing Trump says about Juneteenth on that day. Um, because last year I think he said we had too many holidays. So, or maybe that was around Martin Luther King Day. Either one, it was directed at either Martin Luther King Day or Juneteenth, and either way, it's just another way that they're trying to, you know, with redistricting and all this other stuff eliminate the black or African American voice. It's
That's
it's
right.
it's wasteful. So
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It'll be
okay,
interesting. It'll be interesting. But yeah, let's move on. We'll come back. We'll come back to that on Monday and recap whatever was said or not said. Actually.
yeah, I'm sure we'll have something to say. So we always do. Andy, let's talk about Trump because
Oh,
he's in well, I think he's in France still. He's at the G7
yeah,
and and like people. Like I was all here for the Biden, like Biden is slow, Biden is old, Biden is all this stuff, and it's fucking crazy that he's still like trying to pretend he's active and engaged. Like look at what is going on with Trump. He's clearly cognitive declining cognitively
yeah,
because he's wandering aimlessly when normal people would be engaged. It is the Grandpa Simpson moments,
yeah.
right? It is exactly out of. I mean, I'm surprised the Simpsons hasn't done something like that. Um, but he was in Europe and all this other stuff. I don't know what really came out of that G7 discussions. Um, but there was an interesting article that you forwarded me from that talked about, I think it was from The Hill, about James Carville, the Democratic strategist who was obviously gained all his notoriety with the Clinton campaign.
Yeah.
And he's been riding on that really since then. I
Yeah.
don't know if he's really done a whole lot. since then, but really with the original Clinton campaign and presidency. But he said he was predicting that Trump would be out of office by next Easter, so like April timeframe. Because what's going to happen with the midterm elections, it's going to be so bad, he's just going to bail out and get out.
Yeah.
We can talk about that a little bit, but what's your thought on that, Andy?
Yeah, that's delusional. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Carville's like he did great in the Clinton years, and him and his wife were fun in the Clinton years. You know, they're a Democrat Republican married couple, and both senior advisors to senior leaders, and it was fun. He had a moment, but he's been wrong about a lot over the
Yeah.
ensuing years, and there is no way Donald Trump walks away from the White House and says I'm bored. Like that's just not going to happen. The midterms might be bad. They might be bad in a lot of ways, but this president is not going to be like, oh, I'm out of here. This was a good run. Like, no way is that going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean, I think in theory, like it's going to be so I mean, there's been a lot of reporting already that effectively a lame duck today
Yeah,
because there's not much going to get done from the Senate because those YOLO the Republicans are
yeah,
really kind of pushing back on things. The House with Mike Johnson is unproductive at best. And then you have a lot of these other things going on. There's not much he's able to do anymore.
yeah,
I think Congress is probably going to be pushing back on him more and more. There's going to be more and more of these losses where the Trump name gets removed from the Kennedy Center and so on and so forth. The question is will he want to hang around? Now, the one thing I did think about though is could he use this as a springboard for Vance and say, like, Vance has been out a lot. He's got a book coming out.
yeah.
He was on The View this week. And he's been on other places, Fox, The Five, or whatever it was. But maybe he's wants to springboard Vance into something, which would undercut Rubio, who um, clearly thinks he's going to be the nominee.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of like step away and put Vance in office to give him a head start.
Yeah, give him a head start as a president.
Yeah, I just don't think, look, we are in essence like living the Donald Trump farewell tour, right? This guy is out just living his best life right now. I mean, he really is in his mind. Like he's having the most fun he could have. He's in his mind king of America, running the world, calling the shots, going to war where he wants, flexing his muscles, enriching his family, saying whatever the hell he wants to say, getting away with it all. Like he's just on his long farewell tour, wrapping up what he's considered a very successful life, and we're just suffering through it. Like we're just he is not going to walk away, not for Jay, because he doesn't give a shit about anybody else. Ultimately, he doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about the party. He does care about his legacy to an extent, but he's here in this moment most of anything else. He wants to live in this moment. He does not want to go and quietly retire for the future of the Republican Party and JD Vance's success. No, no way. No, he just doesn't care. We are here to see Donald Trump head into Valhalla. That in his mind, that's what we're here to do. America is going to watch him ascend to the heavens, and he's going to be in office until his blue makeup covered hands fall off and he goes into the heavens. Like he is going to be here, and in his mind, not leaving the White House until that moment comes. Now he may, I mean, just being realistic, like with his health, with his age, he could pass in office, and I think that's his dream. I think he wants to pass away in office and be celebrated in all his glory. Like that is possible, right? But for him to just walk away, not for JD, not for Marco. Now JD is doing a great job of setting himself up as the heir apparent. I mean, he is out there much more front and center than Marco Rubio is. So he is, I think, really positioning himself both in sort of getting public support, changing his appearance to many, and in rallying potential future donors and supporters. He's trying to consolidate all of that right now so that there is no doubt that he's going to be the guy in 2028, but he's going to have to wait until 2028 unless the Lord calls Donald home early. And I mean that completely in a peaceful manner, not advocating for any violence whatsoever, right? But that's the only way. This guy's not walking away from office. He is going to take us through this farewell tour till death do us part.
Well, and you have the thing about it like this is where else can he celebrate his birthday with the full military
That's right.
celebrating him every
That's right.
year? Last year was the Army's birthday, and then this year it's the country's birthday and the World Cup. He went to the NBA Finals. He went to this. I think he did. Did he go to Super Bowl? Whatever. But he went to a couple of things. He's gone to races. He's got the Olympics in
That's right.
2028. So he's
That's right.
not going to leave because he wants to parade over all of that. He
Yeah,
wants to celebrate. Like he views them as a party of himself,
that's
so
right.
for himself. So yeah,
And just like with the
I
4th of July, it's going to be a Donald Trump parade, right? I mean, he's taking an incredible moment for this country, and it's going to be about Donald Trump and MAGA. It's
yeah.
just right. He is not humble enough to care about anything other than his own glory. And yeah, James Carville, thanks for the fantasy. I'm sure some people got excited about it, but ain't gonna happen, brother.
Yeah, and I do want to put a word of caution to all the voters out there. It's like this blue wave for the midterms is not a guarantee. You have to go out and vote.
Yeah,
People, there's a lot of really good races going to be coming up. There's the Senate race in Georgia where, you have a really popular Republican who's going to be running against John Ossoff, who, by the way, he is an impressive individual. If you want to talk
yeah,
about somebody
yeah,
very impressive, but he's going to be up for a really tight race here.
yeah,
And so Democrats in independents I saw a reporting the other day, Andy, that the the group of people who do not align to any of the parties is growing more and more. So independents, like you got to get out there and vote. And so it's no guarantee because like we saw last time, there was supposed to be this red wave going through at the midterms, and Biden or the Democrats held strong, and that gave Biden more a, a misdirected belief that he should run again.
yeah.
Okay. All right, Andy, let's go to our next topic and let's talk. You're wearing a pretty cool shirt there. What do you got on? You got your England shirt?
I've got my England shirt. They're playing today. They're going to go out. They're going to win today, Dave. They're going to kick it off. I'll be honest. I'm nervous about today's game. I feel like if there's a game that England could blow, today could be the game that they blow. But I am genuinely excited because I feel like England has a real legitimate shot to win the World Cup, to bring it home finally. I know there's a lot of non-believers in England, in the UK, around the world, but they've really got a chance. I'm excited for it, Dave. 4 o'clock Eastern time today. Things get hot for England.
Yeah, it should be exciting. Last night or yesterday, we had a ton of games,
Yeah,
4 games, and all the stars were out. Messi, I can't, the French guy, Mbappe.
Mbappe. Yeah,
Yeah. He had a couple impressive, he had a great header goal,
he's great. Yeah, he's
goal,
great.
but Messi had 3 goals. So he's now like the all-time leader in World Cup scoring. And so that was great. But Andy, I was wrong on Monday's pod. I said the games on Monday were going to be they should all be blowouts. And in fact,
We're
Andy,
not.
they were not, and
Yeah,
including some very heavy favorites,
yeah,
like tying. I think Spain 0-0 with, I
yeah,
love saying nil with Cape Verde. I
yeah.
mean, fucking crazy. And so Spain's got some work to do here. Now, fully expect them to advance. But Iran 2-2 with New Zealand. Just like this is why I love sport, Andy,
Right.
because when you get out on the field, anything can happen. So, reactions from World Cup play so far.
Well, I was
Hmm.
joking, Dave, kind of that with all the ties, like we see this, like last World Cup, if I recall, Argentina lost their first game. Teams come in, they don't want to overdo it in these early matches, right? So the best teams don't necessarily start all of their superstars right away in some of the what should be easier matches. I think we saw a little bit with Spain, like you saw their very talented young player come in later in the game because I think they were hoping he'd kickstart them and get them hot, but they'd want to spend 90 minutes of their best players running around against teams that aren't as competitive. But those teams can step up because for them, like to play Spain, to play France, to play Germany, like it's a huge opportunity for their nation and for each player to have their dream come true, right? And so they're playing their very best. and they can do better than expected in some of these cases, and they can throw off those heavy favorites. And I think that's what happened for the most part. Like some of the best weren't playing, the other teams were doing their very best. Ended up in ties first game. Everybody's loosening up. The strong teams will advance in most cases. There might be one or two surprises, but there's a part of it that's like, well, maybe they're just all making poly market bets and betting against themselves and throwing the games. You know what I mean? Because who's calling some of those tie matches, right? Who's calling Spain to tie 0-0 in the opener? Maybe all the Spanish team is making that call. And, you know what I mean? That was part of me. I'll be honest, I'm jaded right now, Dave. And part of me was thinking maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe there's some prediction market corruption going on. FIFA, not known for being the purest of entities in the world. I'm just saying maybe, but it's exciting. It's fun. I love seeing these teams that you're like, where are they? I've got to Google them to find out where they are in the world. Like I don't know exactly where they're even physically located. So you're looking up these teams. You've never heard of these players, and there they are playing the world champions, defending champions, legends on the field, and holding them to ties. And it's exciting. And that's my fear. Not that Croatia is not a legitimate team, but that's my fear for England today is that they're going to be matched very competitively today.
Yeah, it's just exciting stuff. I mean, we were bashing on the Middle Eastern teams, and on Monday they like perform well. I mean, it's fascinating. Egypt tying Uruguay 1-1,
Yeah.
and we talked about the Iran match, and it's exciting. I just love to see the spectacle. And like, I'm not watching from the time it starts to the time it ends, but like I am actively following. I'll watch the USA match on Friday. They play Australia,
Yeah.
and Christian Pulisic is injured right now, so well, he hasn't been practicing. So is this going to be a injury that lingers? We'll see. I think he got kicked or something on the calf, and I think that's what's been bothering him. But he's like on the game on Friday, he clearly was the star. I mean, yes, the other player had a couple goals, but he clearly when he had the ball, you could see the defense shift all their attention to him. And he broke through a couple tackles. He broke through a couple, being covered by two people. So if he can't play, that's going to have an impact on them. Probably not out of the group stage, but long term. So we'll see how that goes. I think getting that win really solidified that they're obviously going to advance, and so let's just see where it goes from here. But Australia's a good team. They beat them a couple years ago, Andy. So it's not. I mean, this is going to be a tough match.
It's gonna be a tough match. You can't take anything for granted, which is like you said. That's what the beauty of sport. You got to play the game. You got to show up. You can't think you're going to get a sandbag victory against a team because everybody is here to win. And to get out of this group stage, like one victory could do it. Like one victory, get those 3 points and maybe a tie. You might move out. You might get one of those third place advancements if you do so. If one of these teams that nobody's thinking is going to go anywhere can secure an unexpected win, all of a sudden maybe they're competitive. And then some of these really good teams who you just assume are going to move forward, they get a tie, they get another tie. All of a sudden they go to that third match and it's a must-win game. Now the pressure's on. The other team really wants to beat you. I mean, so it's exciting. It's exciting. There's some strategy in how you play the players, when you put people in, when you take them out. Like there's some strategy goes into all that, and some of it's thinking, for the game, but some of it's also thinking like we want to save our very best for elimination play. But that's an assumption that you get there, and you've got to get there, and so you got to play the game. So the U.S. has some tough matches ahead. Everybody does, and it's just so fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely for sure, for sure. So everyone keep cheering for your teams. I mean, I think 48 teams. I think some people, I have seen some of the complaints about like maybe some of the competition isn't always that great, and you have teams that get in, like Curacao, for example, maybe don't really belong there. But look, Andy, 48 teams, there's how many countries in the world? We're
Yeah,
talking about a small subset.
yeah,
You got to go through a lot of rigor to get here. Just let's go and have some fun. It does kind of you don't have that group of death necessarily anymore where you used to have two powerhouses in the league or even three like really strong teams in there and only two are going to survive.
yeah,
You don't have that with 48 teams, but that'll make the next round a little bit more exciting, and the round after that a little bit more exciting. So, let's just roll with it, Andy. Let's just roll
Yeah,
with it.
that's right. And I don't like the idea of somebody doesn't deserve to be there because I look at it as like they're there. Like however they qualified, they qualified, and so they're in the big show. They're going to do their best. Like they deserve to be there, and we just cheer them on for having a chance. And these smaller countries that like don't belong, one might say like they belong, and it's amazing to see them a chance to play on the global stage. So like you got to
Yeah.
celebrate each one of these.
It will be interesting to see is if Europe and South America come back next year and say, we deserve a minimum of 10 spots at the or 24 spots at the in the World Cup. You got to
Yeah,
give us more and more teams and so on and so forth. Kind of like the Big Ten and the SEC are doing with college football and the NCAA basketball tournament. So
yeah.
not bitter, Andy, not bitter. So.
Not bitter. No, but I will just say before we move off, like one of the most exciting things is seeing these fans come in from all over the world
Oh
to
yeah.
see their heroes and the shared joy when their nation scores. When Messi scores that goal, like the enthusiasm of the fans to celebrate him. We're gonna see that today. If Ronaldo puts one in the net, like the crowd is gonna go absolutely bonkers, and like it's so fun to see that, and just again that you get a chance to disconnect from tariffs and war and conflict and Russia and just all the things that are so wrong in the world today. You just get to celebrate national pride and sport and like it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, and what's been really cool is like seeing the people visiting going to Cracker Barrel or
Yeah,
Waffle House
yeah,
and all these places and like this is amazing. I'm seeing a lot of really cool funny memes
yeah,
about like people going back to their home countries now 50 pounds heavier, bringing back like all this crazy stuff.
yeah,
And like in Boston, you had the Scottish fans invading Fenway Park to watch the Red Sox play and not really caring about baseball, but just going there and having a good time. That's what, is great about this type of stuff. And of course, you're going to have shitheads who go, yeah, but just don't stay too long. Don't stay past your fucking time. Get out of my country.
yeah,
Like, get the fuck out of here. So,
yeah.
okay, Andy, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up today. Let's talk Toy Story, Andy.
All
Let's
right.
little pop culture and movies. Toy Story 5 is coming out this weekend. I thought Toy Story 4 was the end. I thought that was a really good wrap up. I love those movies. I thought it was a good wrap up. I think
Yeah,
it came out 2019, so we all watched it together as a family, and it was a kind of emotional at the end, and it was really good send away. And then they came out with Toy Story 5, Toys versus Tech. This is what we've been waiting for a while. They haven't touched this before.
yeah.
All right, like, look, both of your kids are out of the house. I have a young one still in the house, so we're gonna go watch it this weekend. Are you like interested in this at all?
I'm not. Like I was never like I enjoyed them. I think I watched the first two Toy Story movies. I thought they were cute. I thought it was cute. They're but like I didn't like love them. And
Yeah,
so like no, like I'm not. I'm and like you said, like I think three was the end, and then four was the end, and now here we are at five. It's like it's okay to let a good thing go to its piece, But yeah, but I'm glad you're gonna get to. I think it will be fun. I think kids will definitely enjoy it. And I'm sure there's good, thoughts and lessons for all of us in it. So I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable movie. I just it's not on my list of to dos.
yeah. It continues this. We're getting like blockbuster after blockbuster
Yeah.
coming out now on these in the movies, and it's just bringing a lot of things into the theaters. So you had Disclosure Day last week that did pretty well at the box office. You had the Obsession and the Backrooms. Have you figured the Backrooms out yet, Andy?
I'm still, my brain is still melting trying to understand what happened in Backrooms, but it was enjoyable. But I did get a little bit more of the background stories, and I do appreciate it. At least the fun of it more than I did initially.
So that's an interesting part you bring up is like, you went onto the internet to try to understand it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find that helpful, or do you find it like kind of maybe ruins a little bit?
No, I thought it was helpful because I feel like it gives you some context you otherwise don't necessarily have. Like for a lot of I think Gen Z that has sort of grown up with this in front of them, like there's lore and there's story that goes with it. So it's exciting to see it now on the big screen for a full 2 hours, and like you can appreciate it because you have context. Here comes, old Andy walking in. It's like, what the hell is going on here right now? Without that context, you just don't understand it. So getting a little bit of that back, you're like, okay, I can appreciate why this was highly anticipated, why it's so fun for people to see it. And yeah, so I appreciate it that way. Even after movies I know, like when I went and saw Mando, I spent the entire credits just going back through and looking up characters, like who was that and how did they tie in, and I like being able to connect things that way and appreciate maybe little aspects and Easter eggs I otherwise wouldn't have caught.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's it's kind of fun. It can be fun for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
It can be fun. So we'll see. We still got some big movies coming up. We've got Spider-Man coming out real soon. We got Supergirl coming out real
yes.
soon. So and then typically in August it gets a little slower, but this has been a good run for the movies. You kind of ruined my bit here for the segment with you not like caring about Toy Story 5, but
I'm
yeah.
glad you're excited for it. I'm glad you're excited for it. I'm glad you're going to go see it. You can give us the review on it. But some of the other ones you mentioned, I am definitely excited about. I mean, I'm Spider-Man and Supergirl. Like, I'm ready for those. I have not, I don't even remember. I think it's out. I think the Odyssey is already playing. Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. But I
Oh
think,
no, no, that's still got a couple weeks. It's coming
okay.
out.
Okay. So that should be good too. That should be good too. So there's definitely some summer movies to go and enjoy this year. And I feel like that has been a little bit quieter the last few years. So I'm glad that like Hollywood is pushing hard with some big movies. Tom Holland gonna have a big summer. So it's gonna be fun.
Well, with the Odyssey you bring up is like growing up, there was these big epic movies, these period pieces
Yeah.
that would be like really popular. Big sets, a lot of actors, a lot of names in there. But we've gone away from that. Like with the rise of all the superhero movies, you were getting like three or four of those a year, like really big connected pieces.
Yeah.
And that meant you didn't have those big epic movies, and you had a lot of like kind of I would say like indie films. Like the best the best movie winners for like the last several years have been generally speaking not I wouldn't say they're killers at the box office. They're really
Yeah.
good movies. They should
Yeah.
be considered for best picture, but I wouldn't say like the Anora, I don't think last year's Best Picture winner, I don't think even made $60 million. I
Yeah.
mean, that's nothing. And so, like a lot of these films are going to make that in the opening weekend. So be interesting to see. I think the Odyssey is going to be really cool. I think you're going to have to see it on IMAX, in the big screen. So we'll see how that plays out for sure on that part. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right, Andy.
there's that movies. I mean, just to that point, like you think about like the Ten Commandments or some of those older films that were just like there were
Spartacus.
only so many movies, and they
Yeah.
were all like absolutely huge. And like yeah, there's nothing like that today. Not to that level.
Yeah, you had Platoon, like even think about like a movie like Platoon, it was a
Yeah,
big movie,
that's right.
and so on and so forth. Like Titanic was a huge, these were big like movies, and then it just has kind of gotten over the last 10, 15 years, really, really strayed from that. So okay, Andy, I think we're gonna. So we mentioned earlier, Friday is Juneteenth, so we're not gonna pod on Friday.
Yeah,
So for those who may be expecting a pod, we won't see it. Maybe we'll see if I'm bold enough to if the president says something about Juneteenth and I have an instant reaction, I may want to get on real quick for a quick pod. But generally speaking, we're not going to pod.
yeah,
So with that, Andy, have a good weekend. Enjoy your long weekend,
right.
and we'll catch up with you on Monday.